Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lovely day today. So we are going to discuss the panel today, the Gen Zs, Generation Next, the Gen Z decoding the mindset of tomorrow's consumers. So thanks E4M team for chair session. So we would like to have a quick discussion about Gen Zs, how they think, how they fit themselves with the campaigns, how they react, right? So we would like to start the session. So before the session, we would like to give a small introduction of our panelists. So I have designed some introduction of the panelist. Mr. Nikhil Sareen, co-founder of Qubo, a leader building India's next generation smart device IoT solutions, Nikhil. Make in India, we are very proud of it. Right? Niti Kumar, Niti Kumar, CEO of India Spark. Yeah. So Niti, CEO of India Spark Foundry, the group of publicists, driving one of the most future-ready media agency, blending startup with agility with publicity scale. Pravesh Sharma, GM North and East Sakal Media, a strong voice from one of the India's most trusted regional media network. And Sai, CMO of Policy Bazaar, a marketing leader transforming the way young India understand a buyer's in. So this is a small introduction of our panelists. Let's explore some ideas, how they think. So we will have a mixed views from the brands, from the agency, from the technologies. So let's start the conversation. So my first question to Nikhil. Nikhil, identity and the product design. Young consumer buy products that reflect who they are, their style, values, and personality. How Qubo is designing products that help users express their identity without brand looking maybe is irrelevant for them or forced.
Sure. Thanks, Vijay. Thanks, everyone, for having me. I think great question, right? So, today's consumers, they really value the kind of product, the design, and it has to fit into their life, right? You can't force a product down their throat and, ask them to make it fit into their lifestyle. So I think when we design any product, we try and keep it minimalistic. We try and actually make it start with the routine, right? So, a customer may use a smart camera, for a totally different purpose versus some other customer, right? Or maybe the lock that they use, it could have a different routine centered around it, right? So I think what we try and do is let the routine of the user sort of define how it fits into their identity. And while doing that, also keep it as minimal so that it can just fit into their room. It doesn't have to appear as a smart product sitting out there. And it just blends with their lifestyle, right? So I think that's what we do when we sort of design, any product.
Nice. Over to Niti. Niti, so being a publicist group, it's a leader. Publicist is it's a multinational company with their expertise. So some tagline like startup speed plus publicity scale, spark and agility plus global power, which you have. How does this mix helps you to create better campaigns for Gen Zs?
Yeah, no, thanks, Vijay, and thank you, everyone. I think this is a hot topic nowadays. How do we actually crack Gen Z and communicate to them in the kind of language and ethos that, they are comfortable with or what they find authentic. So I think at Publicis and now with, the newly launched agency Spark Foundry, we are spending a lot of time investigating and trying to understand Gen Zs because let's be honest, none of us are Gen Zs, right? At least I speak for myself, right? I'm not. So it does, like every generation, right, you find things different. So to actually kind of get into them, so there's a lot of research that we do through digital mapping through setting up products like connected identity, which is a kind of publicist proprietary solution that helps us understand consumers' buying behavior based on actual transaction history, right? So all of that helps us decode the way Gen Zs are thinking about products, buying products, and this then informs our campaigns. And one of the new things that we've kind of started doing, it's not just about media. I think I heard Ruchira say earlier that, buying reach is easy. It's what you are saying. So 80% of the conviction is on the message, right? So how is the creative message working alongside media backed by data insights? I think that's a critical one to crack for all brands. So we are doing it for brands like Meta, Spotify, PepsiCo, all of that, right? So there are a lot of kind of rich learnings there, which is actually helping us build it. Yeah.
That's good, good. Yeah. Over to you, Pravesh. So evolving content consumption is this question ideation. So Gen Z consumers newly differently. How Sakal is adapting content formats for the short attention span and digital first behavior for Sakal?
Yeah, thank you, Vijay, and good morning to all of the viewers here. Sakal is almost 92 years old publication, a reputed publication. Most of the people living in the west part of the country knows about the newspaper. So it becomes a challenge for, the old 92 years newspaper to change over the years and be suitable for the Gen Z generation. Because these Gen Z are not the consumer of news. They just navigate. You may agree with me, because they just navigate. They don't consume it. They don't believe it until unless they see it. They have to be a source to it. So what we as a publication do it, we normally fix up with the pictures or relevant stories, the snippets, because they don't want to go into the long traditional huge stories and datas or lot of datas, because their timeline for the news is very small. So they want to gather through the the headlines of the newspaper. If the headlines is catchy and if it is sound relevant to this mass for the Gen Z, they go for it. So we design the picture. We do create a story it is in the form of storytelling that can navigate into their mind that what we are talking of. You may have a best example of, when this Pahalgam attack happened. So there was a picture on a front page. That was a bad picture on that day. But that picture tells the whole story, what has happened on that particular day. So that what the Gen Z reflect and, understand the story without being, reading the whole story. The paper was in a black, this thing, the picture says the whole story about it. So this is how, it's a challenge to us, but we are creating a story in the sense that it may suit to the new generation and we are adapting to the digital age. That's all.
Thanks, Pravesh. Coming to Sai, Sai, see, policy is definitely, is the people are buying from the ages, right? Like the millennials, like bloomers and all. A question to you is like insurance for younger audience. Insurance to be used later in life decisions, but Gen Z is starting financial planning much earlier as of now. How Policybazaar is making insurance relevant, simple and adapting for them?
Yeah, thank you everyone. Check. Yeah. So thank you Vijay for the question and good morning all. I think the entire conversation these days is a lot of conversations around Gen Z, how do you target them, what do you, and we refer to them as if they are come from a different planet, but they are living amongst us. So it's no rocket science, to be honest. But there is a slight different in mindset for the marketeers that need to happen in terms of, approaching them, especially when it comes to insurance. So a lot of times what happens is that, we tell that, Gen Zs have a very short attention span. So they are too much into reels, they are short attention span. But I would like to say that, it's not short attention span, it is a content piece need to be relevant within 8 seconds. So if you flip the problem statement around, so then you can actually understand their mindset. If you catch their attention in 8 seconds, if you are relevant to them in 8 seconds, so then at least then they will invest in you. Because recently we did a study around understanding Gen Z, what kind of insurance products they buy. In that, one thing which came across very, very clearly was they need to be engaged. They need to be engaged, they need to be spoken to in a much simpler and easy language. And amongst all the product that we sell, health insurance came out to be, was quite their top of mind, in the top of mind. So one of the most important things that, by the virtue of being a digital company, we anyway, Gen Zs are born after the digital explosion in India. So therefore, search on Google, search on different LLMs. It comes by default to this generation. So our approach is that, how can we just serve them content which is easy, simple, and we can engage them in a much easier way. So once you do that, then they will invest in your brand for a longer period of time. Else, if you try the old school methods of, traditional marketing or, traditional way of communicating, they might not invest. So the approach needs to be slightly different. But again, we should not approach it like they are a completely different beast, we try and do some. So what they definitely don't like is, trying to be unnecessarily cheeky or, just talk to them in their language and you can catch their attention.
Over to you, Nikhil. See, Bharat, right? Make in India. So we should be proud of all the products which is definitely make in India. So this is a really proud moment for us. So the context is make in India innovation. Today, make in India has become a point of pride. As I said, how do you see Indian tech brands shaping the future of India's digital lifestyle? And how the Qubo is contributing to build a strong Indian tech identity?
Sure, I think very interesting question, right? So I think traditionally, if you look at consumer technology brands, right, most of them typically used to just import hardware from China and just sort of market it to the Indian consumer, right? And maybe going back 5 years, we realized that if you have to really build a strong brand, that won't work. And the reason it won't work is because if you rely on both hardware and software to come from an overseas country, you really have no control on the kind of brand and the experience you're building, right? So we said very clear that if you have to build something here, it has to be made in India. We also understand that building hardware today probably is still not possible. So that still obviously comes from China for most of the brands. But keeping the hardware aside, the entire tech stack, right? Be it your app, be it the firmware, be it the cloud, which essentially determines how strong or how interesting the product is. I think that's what we've built ground up over the last 5 years, right? So a fair share of investments gone in, into just designing that whole ecosystem for India, and nobody had done that before, right? And what that helps with, it helps us solve for Indian use cases and Indian problems, right? I'll give you a small example, right? Today, everyone's talking of the air quality. All of the air purifiers that everyone uses today, they just come from China. All of them have been made for global sort of pollution problems, right? Which is not even remotely close to what we're seeing in India. And nobody has really solved for that, right? So that's where we went deeper and we tried to really build a product, build technology. So what we've done, I'll give you small examples, right? We've integrated the AQI into your app itself, and it tells you what the AQI outside is and what the AQI inside your home is, right? Second, if the AQI is high, it'll turn on the purifier on its own, right? Now, all of these things can only be done when you sort of own the technology stack in India, right? So I think that's why we're immensely proud that we've built all of this, completely in India, and we continue to do so. And I think with the government support now, with all of the BIS coming in, I think in the next few years you will see a lot of the hardware stuff also being made in India. So I think that's the journey that most consumer tech brands today are on.
Thank you, Nikhil. Coming to Niti, the context of this question is startup speed and publicist. Peer influence and versus ads, right? Today, creators influence more than ads. How can brands stay authentic and trusted in the peer-driven world?
Yeah, that's a very interesting and very relevant question. I think every brand today is thinking through how can the whole creator, influencer ecosystem be leveraged, right? Because look at all of us in the room. I mean, I'm sure if I do a poll, how many people watched TV last night versus I ask how many people were on Instagram or YouTube kind of scrolling, I'm sure the second one will get more hands up, right? So I think today, if we want to reach out, I mean, it's not just this particular one, I think is not just about the next generation, it's also about everybody, right? How do you bring the whole influencer piece and make it a part of your channel mix? You know, in those olden days, TV, we used to figure how do you add a digital to a TV and a print and so on. Now it's about how do you add the incrementality and make everything digital first, influencer first. So there are a lot of kind of instances where the message itself, harking back to what Sai was saying also, it has to be about the content being engaging. There has to be something that makes your kind of thumb stop. It's not just about signing up an army of influencers, yeah? So figuring out what your consumer really wants to hear, what makes the message more authentic, through tools, through just understanding. Sometimes it's just about making sure that you chat enough. So I'll give you an example. For one of our clients, we were launching a bike, right? And bike launches auto launches have a kind of fairly proven template, right? You do Pravesh, those big jacket ads and half-page ads and everything, plus your TV cam. We launched this bike through an influencer handle. It was treated like an invite only, and it was a gaming influencer, not an auto influencer, right? The bike sold out in 2 days. So the target that they had in terms of bookings was met in 2 days because this guy put it out that, okay, this is invite only for my followers first, right? Because there's obviously a huge overlap between hardcore gamers and, bike riders. So that's the way we really need to think if we want to connect with Gen Z audiences and get influencers working for us. It's unfortunately not a simple Excel template, but needs a lot of creative thinking on the back of it.
Lovely, Niti. Coming to Pravesh, trust in media, very big content. So being Sakal, definitely it's a very old, publisher, a network, I may say. Youth trust peers more than traditional media, right? How can publishers like Sakal rebuild the credibility with a young audience?
That's a very interesting question, actually, and this is what we discuss in our, meetings and internal meetings and outside. How to cope up with this thing. So just to, as you all know, Sakal is a almost 92 years newspaper, and we have a good authentic news. But the thing changes, and what I have both Gen Z and my Gen X both are in my home. So what the Sakal has done, so I can just correlate with my family itself. So earlier it was only a newspaper, then the newspaper demand goes down, and then it comes to the education for kids. Then we have launched a newspaper called NIE, newspaper in education. That was going to the schools and all. Then when the education reading gone down, to cater to the new audience, we have a television launch called Sam TV, so which is doing quite well in the Maharashtra market. It is open to air. Going further to that, once the television also reached to the stagnant stage, and to build a trust, we moved to the digital world. We have Sakal, and we developed the things where it can correlate with the newspaper, because Sakal is anyway carrying the authenticity and the trustworthiness of almost 92 years. So we correlate the things with the digital things. So we run almost the same campaigns what we run in television. We get the campaign for this, and it is make more relevant for the people and the young generation, because they can't believe it. They need the source from where the news has come from. Until unless they find the source to be authentic, they don't believe it. Presently, today, while coming for this thing, I was not aware, I was not aware about Smriti Mandhana. But in the, while coming back, I just look at my phone. I can see that Smriti Mandhana got engaged. So that is a digital, audience which is, capturing the whole news world actually. So we need to be doing it, and we are investing a huge lot on, digital era on this. So we are have a, whole long media, relevant news running on the digital part. So this is what, the new generation is looking for this, and we are adapting and changing accordingly to the brand.
Yeah, thank you, Pravesh. Sai, co-creation with Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. Definitely Gen Alpha will be a more challenging, generation, because see, we always see Gen Zs we are able to answer these questions, but Alphas are next level. They are 10 years ahead of us, right? So young users don't only want to buy, they want to participate and influence. How policymakers are evolving them in the shaping products, communications, and overall experience?
So, to be honest, Gen Alpha is yet not in the insurance fold, so we need not worry much. But of course, they can be a spokesperson for the category. But talking about the entire, how can we co-create with this entire new generation is pretty much simple. I think one of the most important things about insurance is that unlike any other category, when you buy insurance, you actually don't get anything. So you would have never seen a Gen Z taking a photo with a copy of the insurance they have bought and upload it on social media, but they do it with their new car or any new accessory they would have bought. So because there is no product. So how do you sell a product to a Gen Z, make them feel excited about it, or at least talk to and make them talk about the category? The only touch point is which is the product truth about insurance, which is the claims. So if a brand is able to, if we are able to give them the confidence that they have bought the right product, and when they require it, they will get the claim. So then it will. Then they will definitely invest in it. Like for example, we are doing this entire new campaign around explaining overall audience, not the Gen Zs, including Gen Zs and millennials, and the overall audience. Why is it important to buy right? Like for example, a lot of times when you are buying health insurance, there are very small mistakes that consumers do, and which they realize later, and it creates a lot of friction. That so at sometimes they just miss declaring their pre-existing diseases, or they don't tell that they've been smokers in the past. So there are small mistakes like this they do. So we recently started a campaign where we said that what are the reasons because of which your claim can get rejected. How to ensure that it doesn't. So there are snippets like that, and we also work a lot with influencers to actually talk about the category. So if you look at, overall our advertising strategy, it is largely category creation. And by the virtue of being the one-stop destination to compare insurance, so people end up coming to Policy Bazaar, but we are in the business of developing the category, not just the brand. So therefore, we want them to invest in the category. So once they invest and understand the category, then there is no stopping. They would pass on the message to the next generation. So if we crack Gen Z, I think Gen Alpha will fall in place.
Lovely, lovely. Nikhil, over to you. So basically, from smart device to emotionally intelligent device. See, everyone knows AI is playing a very important role. So being in Vertoz also, we are a global AI, MadTech and Cloud Tech. We are offering a lot of products to the brands. When we meet brands, when we meet agencies, when we meet all like Sai and all the leaders and the aggregators, we talk about audience, we talk about behaviors, we talk about different things. Like, all behavioral talks, I mean, how audience react to the campaigns. Because that era is gone that you are blankly shooting in campaign and, you are getting leads or getting sale. Here now, more important part with every brand, every agencies, every service provider, every network is how you capture the right audience. So this question to you, young users expect products that understand them, not just smart, but emotionally intelligent. How Qubo using AI to create device that can sense behavior, predict needs, and fit naturally into users' daily lives.
Sure. So I think honestly, AI is at the center of what almost everyone's doing today, right? So it's not something which is just recently come up, right? I think everything we've built over the last few years has always kept AI at the center. So I'll give you a few examples. If we talk about smart cameras, right? Now, if you remember one of the leading brands, CP Plus, right? One of their campaigns used to be "Upar wala sab dekh raha hai," right? I think we've gone one step beyond that, and we say that not just, we don't just record, but we also protect you, right? So you don't want your camera at home just to be recording. You don't want to go back and then, skim through 3 hours of recording to tell you that whether something happened, right? You need AI to step in and tell you that, hey, there's an intruder who tried to, break in. The camera should fire a loud siren to stop him. And maybe even if it's an outdoor camera, throw a spotlight to scare him away and send him off, right? So I think that's how AI has to be used to sort of, target that emotional angle, which is important for every customer, right? Be it a mother at home, be it, a parent whose child is at home. So we have things like, baby cry detection in the cameras. So just using AI to, do the most, most obvious things, but the most important things as well, right? I think that's what has sort of helped us, build that emotional sort of attachment with the customer.
Thank you. Coming to Niti, using data in AI, Gen Z's changed very fast, right? How is Spark Foundry using AI to understand their behavior in real time, actually?
Yeah, that's a good one, because I think one of, when it comes to agencies, right, I think we see AI at the moment being super effective in two ways, right? One is speed, like Vijay's question says, and the second is efficiency, right? So I won't touch upon the efficiency, that's the boring part. But when it comes to speed, right, so let's look at the life of a media planner. Let's say he gets a brief that lands from a client, let's say addressing Gen Z, Gen Alpha. How do you go about really quickly understanding what they do, right? So we've actually used AI to build products that save a lot of time on inciting. Otherwise, what would you do? You'd maybe have to call some Gen Z, do a focus group, you'd have to go dig into your data, do some internet research. So we've built a product called Buzz AI, which uses AI to actually crawl all databases across the internet. And it works like a chat GPT works, right? So you type your questions and it keeps giving you insights at a granular level. So that saves a lot of time, and it is an instant generation, right? So you want you need to get your communication and solutions out really quickly as well. So that's one example, Vijay, of how we've used AI.
Lovely, lovely. Pravesh, very interesting. Regional plus digital power. The content of your question. Context of, sorry. Regional content is booming. How Sakal is combining regional strength with digital innovation to attract Gen Zs?
Very relevant questions in today's world. You know, we are the trusted newspaper. We've been long in this business, coming from, the political family of India, and the newspaper come from the big political family from this India. And adapting to this AI-driven, we promote our AI, but in a different fashion. I will just explain you how. Once you all read the newspaper is there, you have read the newspaper. But if you find the same story in the digital world, the next generation wouldn't find it interesting. So we keep it short and simple with all authentic and the sources given over there. And the next level, in case we want to dig more into it, the QR code or the microsite is there to have the full-fledged story. Because now there is the generation as, very fast moving, and they, as Sai said, they have just 7 seconds to catch the, hold of what they want to and they don't want to have. So we have a microsite to it. In case they find it more interesting, we can do it. So we at Sakal have driven a different regional paper where we have choices of going into the, we have a Matrin called for the section for ladies. It does have a microsite also. The same thing we have is, for tech people, because Gen Z and Gen X have, this thing, tech, this thing. So we have a tech supplement over there. We have evolved over it. We have gone to the digital era. We have added, QR code. Even what Niti was taking, earlier it was jacket used to give the full response for the advertising. Now it has gone. We have one creative from Bajaj, which was, if you just scan to that logo, you can see the motorcycle running on the whole page. So that was a new AI thing which happened on this thing. And we were the first regional publication, we carried the advertisement. So that is how we are coping and keeping the record of it.
Fantastic. Thank you. I think we are short of time. We'll quickly. AI for intelligent insurance. That is the context of his questions. With AI predicting needs and the risk, what is your vision of intelligent insurance system that helps customer even before they ask for the help?
Yeah, so I think, look, AI is no more a buzzword. So it's pretty much integrated and embedded in everything that we do. So a couple of quick examples that I can share how we are trying to use that to our effect and, to engage with this audience is pretty much, what happens is, it really helps in cross-selling and upselling to a certain set of audience. Like, for example, when someone comes and purchases a health insurance, they usually declare their existing diseases or existing diseases, which kind of, gives us cues on, telling, say, for example, someone has a diabetes. We can actually go back and tell them, immediate prompts can go, usually goes to the customer saying that, there is a term insurance. If you are not getting a term insurance, there's a term insurance for diabetes from this insurer, so you can easily buy. So these are the ways we use embedded AI in terms of engaging with this audience. And the other ways are like, we have this entire property called Ask PV. Which is on our platform, and when earlier we used to, it was a small icon on our website where people used to come and ask questions around the category, and we used it to our advantage of by making it chat GPT friendly, where the moment a consumer comes and asks any query, there is instant prompts around it, and we also help them handhold them in the purchase via the bot. These are the ways that we are trying to use AI to engage.
Again, I'll start with the descending order, quickly with you only. See, context of your question is insurance education in youth space, right? Younger people learn about money through influencers, peers, and online communities, right? How does Policybazaar ensures insurance education remains accurate and responsible, but still engaging enough to reach Gen Zs and Alphas?
So I think it's a similar answer of what I had mentioned earlier. If you look at, so we work with a lot of influencers, but if you look at any of our influencer marketing campaign, we only talk about category building. We say, why is health insurance important? Why is term insurance important? What are the benefits of buying a motor insurance? So basically, it's a category building exercise. So we don't prod or push any specific product or brand, because what we feel is that education is the single most important thing in our category. If we educate them the right way and create a need in their lives, our problem will be solved, because we are anyway building a brand, and we are the default destination. So they might end up coming to us only. To answer your question simply, educate them, give them the right answers, and leave the power in their hands, which brand they want to choose.
Lovely. Community-led influence, right? Communities drive discovery. How Sakal is building strong digital communities around the content?
Very right question. And, my owner would love to hear this once we are at this platform. Sakal invested a lot in the community, and, in terms of women upliftment, or you talk of, digital, this thing. We have done one program with Google India, where it was a digital literacy in the rural states of Maharashtra, rural districts of Maharashtra. So it has worked up very well, and it was being funded by Tata, this thing. Melinda Gates, the funding was there. So this all, even we do a lot of consulting firm. We have a tie-up with Palladium. We do a lot of consultancy, not only the newspapers. Through the newspaper, we do all such things. With the Odisha government, we have done with DG Thane, where once the child is being born, to the booking of, ticketing to cinema hall, we all can be done to DG Thane. So this is a small test we have done in this area. And, all, you talk of all digital things, Sakal has it. To start from the smart office with all digital office, and to all the cultural thing to Maharashtra, we are nothing like it. We rule that city in terms of digital and this thing.
Fantastic. Niti, future of media agencies. Very, very important question for you. Gen Alpha will set new rules. Okay. Yeah. What will be, so we'll quickly sum up this last question. Gen Alpha will set up new rules. What will be tomorrow's media agency look like for the new generation? So we'll end this question after Nikhil. Just give us 5 minutes for it.
So I think I keep reading that media agencies have no future. So I hope there is a future. No, but jokes aside, I think if I were to kind of put one word to it, right, I think agencies need to now be a lot more connected. So if one is looking at the future, one needs to figure out how to connect this whole disparate journey that today's consumers, and Gen Alpha will do it even more, right? So how do you connect creators to commerce, to content, to paid media, to data that you may have about consumers? I think that's where, and AI, of course, is the enabler for all of this. So how do you get that whole flywheel working faster? I think that's where the answer probably lies. But I think we're still figuring it out.
Sure. The last question will end up with Nikhil answer. Nikhil, authenticity for Gen Z and Gen Alpha, because Gen Z and Gen Alpha care about, Can we go ahead or? One last question, right? So I'll just quickly add. So Gen Z and Gen Alpha care more about authenticity and share value than discounts. How does Qubo do build real trust and their, these youngsters and show ethics in a way that feels natural and no promotional?
Sure. I think both, predominantly Gen Z can see through what you're doing, right? So you have to be as honest as possible. I think very simple 3 things that you need to do. I think one is just being extremely transparent as a brand. So when I say transparent, could be small things like, being honest about what your product is, calling out the right features, say on your website, on marketplaces, not really saying things which actually are not part of your product, right? I think very, very important. Second, small things about consistency. So, as a brand, we believe that pricing, for example, has to be consistent no matter where a consumer shops, right? Again, Gen Z values that a lot, right? Today, for example, if they come and buy a product on, say, Amazon for, say, X, and tomorrow on my website it's available 20% cheaper, that just breaks the trust, right? So I think very, very important to be consistent in sort of what you do. And I think last point is just, using community a lot, right? So rather than talking yourself, getting more Gen Zs and more people who are actually using your product to do the talking for you, I think that resonates with the Gen Z consumers, right? So I think that these are the 3 points that we sort of try to
Thank you so much, E4M team, for giving us 5 minutes more. So we will end the session here. Thank you guys. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.